All right, everybody, welcome back for another deep dive.
Hey, everybody.
Today, we're going to be taking a look at how to prep for exams strategically and efficiently.
Ooh, good topic.
We're pulling some tips from the SAS Institute on creating a study schedule.
Excellent resource.
Yeah, I think this will be super valuable because you know that feeling when you have like a ton of exams coming up and you're just like, I don't even know where to start.
Ugh, the dread.
Yeah, and so hopefully this deep dive will give everybody some actionable advice on how to create a plan that actually works.
Totally. I think the SAS Institute makes a great point right off the bat about, just feeling overwhelmed by it all.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like that's the first hurdle, is the mental one of just like, oh my gosh, look at all this stuff I have to get through. So they really emphasize breaking everything down into these smaller, more manageable chunks.
Yeah, that's so key. I know, like, for me personally, sometimes just the thought of, like, everything I need to study makes me want to just, like, not even start, procrastinate even more.
Oh, totally.
It's like, how do you eat an elephant?
Correct.
One bite at a time.
Exactly.
So it's the same concept here. Just break it down, and then it feels so much less
Daunting. Yes. I think they use the phrase, making it less daunting. And I love that because it really is like if you can break it down into these smaller chunks,
Yeah.
you're not only reducing anxiety,
Right.
but you're actually making the learning more effective because you can focus on a smaller section at a time.
Right. It's like instead of just, like, speed reading through an entire chapter,
Totally.
you can actually take the time to, like, highlight or take notes and really understand each section.
Yeah, absolutely.
But even once I have everything broken down, like, I still sometimes struggle with, like, okay,
Yeah.
I know I need to study, but I just can't seem to, like, focus.
Oh, for sure.
Do you have any tips for that?
Well, I think that's where knowing yourself comes in, right? The
Yeah.
SAS Institute talks about knowing thyself and like understanding your learning style. And when are your peak study times?
Yeah.
What works best for you?
Because it's like, imagine trying to run a marathon at, like,
Like 2 PM?
at your least energetic time of day.
And you're ready for a nap.
Exactly.
It's just not going to work as well. So
Yeah.
thinking about it in those terms is really helpful.
So how do you figure out what your learning style is?
Yeah, that's a great question.
Because I know some people love flashcards, some people have to hear things out loud.
Yeah. Well, I think it's a lot about just reflecting on your past learning experiences.
Okay.
Think about a time when you learned something really easily and quickly.
Mm-hmm.
What were you doing?
Okay.
Were you reading? Were you listening? Were you watching something? Were you doing something?
Okay.
So, for example, like if you were someone who thrived in hands-on science labs, you might be a kinesthetic learner and you need to be actively engaging with the material,
Okay. That makes sense.
And I think from there, you can kind of start to tailor your study strategies.
Right.
So if you are that kinesthetic learner, maybe you need to be like getting up and moving around while you're studying or like acting things out or building models or something like that.
Cool.
Yeah.
So let's say you've figured out you're like a visual learner.
Okay.
What are some strategies that someone can use to make studying more effective for them?
Yeah. So the SAS Institute suggests incorporating visual aids.
Okay.
Diagrams and mind maps, and even color coding your notes.
Okay.
I always loved color coding my notes.
I too.
So it's like imagine you're studying vocabulary.
Yep.
Instead of just reading the word and the definition, you create a flashcard with a picture on it.
Oh, that's smart.
And that visual connection can really help cement it in your memory.
Yeah.
So yeah, definitely use those visual aids.
Awesome. And that actually leads perfectly into the next point from the SAS Institute, which is about mixing up your study techniques.
Yes. Variety is the spice of life.
Oh, I like that.
And it's the spice of studying, too.
Keep your brain engaged.
Exactly, because it's like working out,
Yeah.
If you do the same exercises at the gym every day,
You get a plateau.
you're going to plateau exactly. So
Yeah.
you got to mix it up. You got to challenge those muscles in different ways.
So instead of just like rereading my notes over and over again,
Right.
maybe I should try like summarizing them in my own words.
Yeah.
Or like teaching the concept to somebody else.
Love it.
Yeah.
That's a great one.
Or even creating practice questions.
Exactly. And don't be afraid to experiment.
Okay.
If one method isn't clicking,
Yeah.
try something else.
Okay.
The goal is to find what works for you,
Yeah.
what helps you stay focused and engaged.
Awesome. Now let's talk about a technique that can really boost your long-term retention.
Oh, yes.
Spaced repetition.
My favorite.
I've heard about this.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about reviewing the material at spaced intervals, right?
Yes, that's it.
So instead of cramming everything in right before the exam,
Please don't cram.
don't cram.
You're strategically revisiting the information over time.
Okay, so give me an example of that.
Okay, so let's go back to those vocabulary words.
Right.
Instead of cramming all 50 the night before the exam,
Right.
maybe you review 10 today, 10 tomorrow,
Okay.
and then revisit all 20 2 days later.
Okay.
This spaced repetition helps solidify the information in your long-term memory.
Got it. So it's like going to the gym and lifting heavier weights each time.
I love that analogy.
You're strengthening those memory muscles.
Yes, exactly.
But even with the best study plan, I know I can't just like sit and study for hours and hours on end.
Oh, no.
I get burnt out.
We all do.
So what does the SAS Institute say about breaks?
They emphasize incorporating short breaks into your study schedule.
Yeah.
And they're so important because
Right.
breaks actually help boost your brain power.
They do.
They give your mind a chance to rest,
Right.
to consolidate the information.
White charge?
Come back, refresh. Exactly.
Yeah.
So the Pomodoro technique is a great example.
I've heard of that.
25 minutes of focus study followed by a 5-minute break.
I've tried that before, and it really does work.
It does.
But sometimes I get so, like, in the zone
Oh,
that I don't want to take a break.
I know it's hard.
Yeah, because I feel like I'm going to lose all my momentum.
It's all about setting boundaries.
Okay.
You have to make those breaks non-negotiable.
Oh.
Think of it as scheduling a meeting with yourself.
I like that.
It's an important appointment for your brain.
Yes, it is.
And make sure those breaks are truly restorative.
Okay.
Get up, move around, step away from the screen, maybe listen to some music.
Yep.
Chat with a friend.
Okay, so we've talked about breaking down the material,
Yep.
knowing your learning style,
Mm-hmm.
mixing up those study techniques,
Absolutely.
spaced repetition,
Love it.
taking breaks.
Super important.
Is there anything else that we should keep in mind as we're creating our study plans?
I think the last point from the SAS Institute, which is so important, is a flexibility.
Okay.
Life happens.
It does.
Unexpected things come up.
Oh,
And sometimes you just need to adjust your schedule.
oh my gosh, tell me about it. There have been so many times when I've like meticulously planned out my study schedule and then like a surprise assignment pops up or like a family emergency or something.
I know.
And it's just like, oh, so frustrating.
And they can throw everything off, but that's why it's so important to remember that
Yeah.
the schedule is a tool to help you succeed.
Right.
It's not another source of stress.
It shouldn't be. Yeah.
So be adaptable. Be kind to yourself.
Okay.
Don't be afraid to make changes as needed.
All right. So to recap, we need to break down our study material, get to know our learning style, fix up those study techniques,
Yes.
embrace spaced repetition,
Uh-huh.
take those brain-boosting breaks,
Yes.
and remember that flexibility is key.
You got it.
Awesome.
With the right plan and the right mindset, exam success is definitely within your reach.
I love that.
Now go create that study plan
Yeah.
and crush those exams.
All right. That's it for this deep dive.
Good luck, everyone.
Happy studying, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.